Our next candidate for the Board of Education is Mary Washington, and she's been nice enough to come here and talk to us all. Just a reminder to everybody that you'll get the questionnaires, and have already received the questionnaires, that all our candidates have answered online, and a link to those. So you'll get a real good, thorough explanation of their different views and beliefs on different subjects through that, and we're just supplementing that with a few questions here today also. So, Ms. Washington, thank you very much for coming.
It's a pleasure to be here.
And we'll
Thank you.
start with the questions.
All right, good evening.
Good evening.
Good to see you again, Mary.
Yes.
We're asking 3 general questions, so
Okay.
every candidate's getting the same 3.
Okay.
And looking forward to your response. I have the first one.
Okay.
If you are reelected, what are you willing to do to make sure that the Board of County Commissioners fully fund the Board of Education budget?
That is a very good question, and it's the one that we work on every year. We don't just work on the answer to that question at budget time. We work on it, we're already working on it, our budget for next year. One thing they want to know, they want us to prove to them that we have been effective and efficient with the resources that they already give us. And we have, a whole list of things proving, yes, we have been productive with the money. We haven't wasted any money. We have been effective and efficient with the resources you have given us. We also show them our achievement to prove to them, yes, the money you've given to us has been used wisely. Our student achievement is up. Our graduation rate is 95%. We have highly qualified teachers, and things are going well. We prove to them that we have safe and orderly schools, that we have many programs to ensure the safety of the student, staff, and community. So we have to present that first. Then we show them what we need. These are our needs. You know, even though our numbers are stagnant, student enrollment is not up, there's more to it than just the number of the students. We have to compensate our teachers and staff so that we can recruit, retain highly qualified people. Without a highly qualified teacher in the classroom and paraeducator, our student achievement is going down. And the number one factor why people choose to move to a community is the quality of the schools. So schools are economic empowerment, because without a good quality school system, we aren't going anywhere. So we have to show them that they are getting the most bang for the buck if they invest in a high-performing school system that we are. And not to think, well, we don't need to give you money because you got a 95% graduation rate. That when they look at other systems and it's 50%, hey, you're doing good with what you have, why give you more? But we believe in continuous improvement for everyone. And what's wrong with having a 100% graduation rate? People will flock here, and we are one of the best school systems in, I always say, the universe. I do say that, and people say, oh, you know, but we are, because our students compete internationally as well in competitions, and they are doing well. So we're doing well internationally and nationally and statewide, and it all starts with a quality teacher in the classroom. And that's just one component of it. The other component is the other people are important too. The paraeducators are important, because I volunteered in the classrooms before I got on the Board of Education, and I still visit the classroom to see that the teacher needs the help of a professional paraeducator to help those students, to work with them one-on-one. We need building service workers. They are completely invested in the school system. They are part of the family. They talk to the kids, they smile, they greet them, they help the teacher, they support. Then we have our cafeteria workers. Hungry kids can't learn. We would be grumpy, and the food is getting better. I went to a taste testing they had, which I put on Facebook, of new products, a new food that are coming on the menu for our high school students. We will have skinny iced coffee, only 40 calories. We will have whole wheat donuts, whole wheat. So we are getting there. And it's some kind of granola bar that comes in barberry, chocolate, and something else, nuts, and it's another one. It's 3 of those. So we're getting better all the time. So everybody working together, the bus drivers, 90% of our students ride the bus. They couldn't get to school without them. So we all work together as a team, Board of Education members, superintendents, supervisors, everybody worked to make our school system the best it can be. So back to the question, we try to show them that we've been effective and efficient with the resources. We tell them about our achievements, our successes, and that it's more than just the number of students. We need programs, and we need to invest in our people so they'll want to come to St. Mary's County school system and work and stay, and that we provide the resources they need to do their job.
Very good, thank you, Mary.
You're welcome.
Okay. Many school systems around us and in neighboring states have active middle school interscholastic athletic programs where schools play each other in various sports. For instance, Calvert County middle schools play each other in soccer, volleyball, cheerleading, baseball, softball, and track. Do you believe it is time for St. Mary's County to develop such a program for our students as well? If so, what will you do to begin such an endeavor?
Physical activity is wonderful, it's good for students' social growth, their physical growth, and their intellectual growth. It teaches them how to work as a team, and that it's not about you, it's working as a team to get things done. There are a lot of things we want to do, but we need the money to do it. We couldn't even give our teachers a raise. 85% of our money goes to people. 7% transportation fixed costs. And we only have a small amount of money left to do new initiatives and new programs. I would love to have programs there. That's going to take further investigation. We have to decide, because we had that same basic pot of money. After you add on inflation, the money's probably about the same. So what are you going to cut to add that to the middle schools? There are after-school programs at some of our middle schools where, and I've been there, where they have activities. It's not like organized sports like what you're talking about, but it's worthy of exploring to see how can we make that happen. But until we can pay our teachers and pay the people that work for us, you know, we have to work on getting there as a group. And maybe we can get some corporate sponsors. You know, we have to look at other ways to do it. But our money that we're getting is not growing substantially because we don't have more students. And the county commissioners believe they got to have money for a rainy day fund. And a rainy day did happen when Spring Ridge caught on fire.
Mhm.
They gave us $10 million.
Mhm.
So I can see what they're saying, and they want to maintain a certain amount of money and savings, so they have a good bond rating. So when they go to the market to borrow money, they can get it at a good interest rate. So, you know, I try to see their side, put myself in their shoes, and put ourselves in, and I want them to see our side of it too. It's important we have Department of Recreation and Parks, which has programs a lot of students can't afford to do that. The community is working on a teen center, a youth center in the Lexington Park area. And this community was saying we have 3 senior centers and we don't have 1 youth center. So it's a group of people working on the commissioners to get that funded. So it will help students that are in the high poverty, high concentration crime areas, so to give them something constructive to do. And then maybe one day we'll have 3 centers, or we will be able to afford to have the programs in our middle school. That is worthy of consideration and discussion. We just have to see, what are we going to take it from this pot to put it in that pot? And is it, you know, we have to set priorities. But it is important for students to be involved in constructive activities. And they do have after-school programs at Spring Ridge, Esperanza, Leonardtown, I'm sure. More concentrated in the Lexington Park area, where there's Title I schools, where there's a high percentage of free and reduced lunch, where we have grant money. So there are activities there. But I know what you mean. We have to work on that together as a county and decide what our priorities are and where's the money coming from when we can't even give our employees a raise.
Okay, thank you.
Okay.
Okay, well, your favorite topic. During the last school year, many St. Mary's County teachers have reported a significant increase in disciplinary issues, even among young children, and a lack of school-wide consequences for violent and dangerous behavior. What policies would you pursue to address this growing concern among our educators and support staff?
Right now, we have to go follow the Maryland State Department of Education guidelines, okay? We have to follow the law. And the initiative is, the goal is to keep students in school and not put them out of school. And their reason is, you know, students can't learn if they are not in school, which contributes to the dropout rate, which contributes to the crime rate, which contributes to people growing up not being contributing members of society who will take from the society instead of add into the society. I do not support violence in the school. I believe students will be taken out of the classroom. We have in-school suspension where they are placed in there when they don't follow the rules, and we have policies and guidelines in place. So we're our hands are sort of tied as to what we can do, but when students disrespect teachers, they will be taken out of the classroom and put in an alternative setting, which is in-school suspension or home and hospital teaching or something else, because that is unacceptable. You can't have students being disrespectful to teachers. But the way the law is, that's what we have to follow. And I think if there's a committee that you are a part of that will explore this issue with the superintendent. And that's something that we can work on together to come up with different mechanisms or different programs. We use PBIS. Then restorative practices, I know Anna is involved in that as another way to deal with student behavior. We have to work with parents, and we have to train parents. I know Title I had money in the past, and I went to them, I asked them, could I go? And they were teaching parents how to raise their children. Because if they curse, fight, the children see this in the home, disrespect, they're gonna come to school and do it. Because I was visiting Title I program, and this little boy was in the office, and I said, oh, how are you today? He said, not good. I said, well, what's the matter? He said, see that guy over there? He kicked me. I said, oh, well, what did you do? He said, I kicked him back. I said, well, you know, we don't allow that in school. You gotta tell the teacher, somebody hit you, okay? So he said, no. My mother and my grandmother said if somebody hit me, I'm supposed to hit them back. And that's what they told me. And I'm sitting there saying, okay, now the parents telling them to fight, okay. And I'm saying, well, in school the rules are different. You cannot do that. You know, you have to use your brain. You know, you can't fight. You need to tell the teacher that he kicked you, because you're going to be in trouble too. And that's why you're sitting in this office too. But a lot of times it's the things that they are taught at home, things that they hear at home, and we need to work with the parents. And they had programs with Title I on how the different stages of development your child would be in, discipline, how you discipline your child effectively, how to teach your child, how to have an effective parent conference. We used to have money for those things. So we have to work with the parents through the PTAs on programs on how to effectively train your children how they should behave and respect teachers in the classroom. You don't curse, you don't fight, you don't hit, you don't kick. You're respectful, you do your work, you turn it in on time. And at the Title I program, the Lunch and Learn program, that's not Title I, but Lunch and Learn, not only do the students get free lunch, but this summer they also had a teaching component for the students so they wouldn't have that summer drain, and they also had programs for the families. So when I was there that day, they were teaching the parents who come with their children. That day it was on how to stretch your food dollars. You know, I know that has nothing to do with discipline, but that's just one of the things. So through that program, they had other things that they were teaching parents. So through programs like that, the parents can learn how to be an effective parent, because if they didn't have good parents, they don't know how to be effective parents, because they're going to do what was done to them. If it's spanking, cursing. I've heard it in the grocery store. I've heard it in Walmart. The profanity, when some parents talk to their children like that, so they're gonna go to school and they're gonna talk to you like that, because they figure that's normal. That's all they know. And you hit. That's what their parents do to them. But most of our parents are good parents, and they are doing the best that they can do, but we need to help them to work with their children to be better students. So everybody can learn, and we can live in have a school climate where everyone is respected and appreciated. So and a lot of this we can't do on our own, the schools. I mean, the faith-based community should also be involved in this. At my church, I attend the base chapel, and I said, look, people would talk about the school. The school can't do everything. Okay, you gotta do the academics. We do character education, which is very good and effective, but it's up to the faith-based community. According to my faith, you go out into the world and bring the people in. You don't preach to the same people every day. You go out and you get that kid who doesn't go to church. You go out in the community, knocking on doors, telling them, we have CCD, we have Sunday school, come on. And that's where they can get some of the religious education. We can't be everything. We can do the best we can do, but we need the community to help us, the faith-based community. We need psychologists, we need social workers, we need services. And with that new center that's gonna open across the street from Great Mills, that should help us, because some students need counseling, and maybe they'll have one there, and the students at Great Mills, they can just walk across the street, and maybe we can form some partnerships where students can get help during the day. Because it's not just a school issue, it's a community issue. I want teachers to be safe.
Great, thank you. Okay, what's our next question?
This is the follow-up to your questionnaire. In your response to our survey question about standardized testing, you talked about a survey that MSDE sent to the BOE. However, in comparing the results of the survey with another done by MSEA regarding standardized tests, we found glaring discrepancies in the amount of testing and the amount of time used in preparing for and giving these tests. How would you explain these discrepancies?
So there was a discrepancy of what we submitted as how much time we were testing versus what MSDE said. Okay, we said one thing, they said it was more or less.
We gathered information, ESNIC gathered
Okay.
information, and it was highly different from the Board of Ed, what the Board of Ed submitted to Maryland State Department of Education.
I was not aware that such a discrepancy
Huge
existed.
discrepancy.
This is the first time I'm hearing about that. I can take it back to the superintendent and the board, and I would like to see what you did and what we sent and see where the disconnect is. Because, you know, it is concern over the state of Maryland and the nation that students are being tested too much. Some of it is redundant, some of it we can just do away with. And Scott, the superintendent, seriously looked at that as to ways we could reduce the amount of testing. So that's something that I would have to get with him and the board to talk about, the discrepancies between what you did and the board submitted, that it's a big disconnect there.
We have the
And-
data for you.
Yeah, well, you can give me that data, I will take it back and we can figure out what's wrong here and try to do something to fix it. I was not aware of that discrepancy. I'm sorry.
Okay, before we wrap it up, do you have any questions for us?
I just love working with you. I've been a board member for 20 years. I love my job. It is my calling, my purpose, and passion in life. When I moved to the county about 31 years ago, I had 2 children right away, 18 months apart, and I immediately started volunteering in church, and I started volunteering in school even before my son was enrolled in school. And I say, well, I'm gonna volunteer a few years, then I'm gonna go to work. I'm gonna get my master's degree. Never got back to work after all those years. I volunteered in schools about 7 years, and then the Board of Education became an elected position. And people say, you need to run. I said, not me, I just want to work with the teachers. You know, you gotta be highly qualified to be a board member. You gotta know about finance, you gotta know about construction, personnel, all the laws and this and that. But they said, you've been in the classroom for years. You need to do it. So I prayed about it and I did it. I work hard and I love it. I've always loved education. It is so important. Everybody started with a teacher. Without a teacher and without education, we are nowhere as a nation. So I love what I do, and I do it as long as God keeps me here and the people keep voting for me, because I give it my 100%. This is the only job that I do, because it is a full-time job. No one can do this job working a full-time job. It just doesn't happen. Schools are open during the day. If you work in D.C., how are you going to visit schools during the day? When you come home, you get home about 7 or 8 o'clock at night. So how can you do anything? So you have to make the sacrifice of time, energy, and money from your family to do this job. And if you don't love it, you'll be miserable. I love it. My best friends are educators. They are the smartest people in the world. They are. So I just love my job. And I want to learn as much, and I like it because education is always changing. It's never the same. It's always changed. That's the constant in education, because we have to keep growing and keep moving. The bar is raised, and the students always rise to the occasion. They never seek to amaze me. And the teachers, what they can draw out of the students. I look at artwork. I look at all kind of science projects, and I look at dance. I look at drama, I look at everything, and I'm like, I get so excited I can't help myself. I really can't help myself when I go into school to see everybody working so hard to make our school the best in the world. We're a standout. It used to be people say, oh, teachers leaving, they going to this county and that. Nope, other counties are coming to us, because they know that we are a good school system, and all we need to do is continue working together to make it even better. And we fight at the board for money. Don't think, oh, right near budget time. We've already started for next year, starting dialogue with them to try to educate them to give us what we need. It's not we want, it's what we need. It's what we need. If they want to keep it better, if they want people to come move in here. People don't come here because the system is poor. Nobody's buying a house, which means no tax dollars for the county. So you've got to have a strong education system. I want to thank you all for what you do and your commitment to education. And I know everybody in this room works so hard. And I'm just so happy when I'm around you and when I see you, because I feel your compassion. I feel your love. And we really work to try to get you that raise. We did. And it just wasn't going to happen. They were not giving us any more money, and that was that. So we just keep working, keep fighting, keep showing them all these successes. We're efficient. We're not wasting money. We doing this, we doing that. Come look at it. Come see the school. See what the students are doing. So I'm with you 100%. I've dedicated my life to this. And Sal Rasper used to say to me, Mary, we're crazy. I said, why are we crazy, Sal? He said, because we pay to do this job. He said, there's no money in this job. Because we started with $4,000 a year. Then they gave us a raise to $6,500. And then that took like 13 years or so. And then they give us $250 raise a year, no benefits. So when you do this job, it's because you love it. And you're willing to make the sacrifice because you know you're helping people. And when you do good, it comes back to you tenfold. It's all about our country and maintaining our way of life and our standard of living so everyone can be successful.
All right, well, thank you very much. Thank you for coming and sharing your beliefs and what you stand for with us and all the other educators in our community. We appreciate it.
I
Thank you.
appreciate you. And I'm asking you for your endorsement, and I would ask that you please vote for me. I am on Facebook, and I do have a website, marywashington.com, and I'm just learning how to do Facebook, so it's fun. But it's just, and I post all the things that I go to, activities and things like that, so people can see what I'm doing to support our students in our schools.
Thank you.
Thank you.